Well, when the schedule came out 4 weeks ago tomorrow and the betting lines were locked in for all the games, the Patriots ended up being favored in 11 of their 17 games, even though their win total projection from the sports books was 8.5. They're favored in 11 of the games. I don't know if that's changed, but I don't know why it would have changed. And one of the reasons why they're favored in more of their games than not is because of Drake Maye, one of the 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 selections in 2024. Jaden Daniels, clear superstar. Bo Nix took his team to the playoffs. As to Caleb Williams, it feels like he's going to be on the pass side of pass-fail. It feels like Michael Penix is going to be on the pass side of pass-fail. J.J. McCarthy, the only one who gets an incomplete because he was injured all last year. But Drake Maye, so far, looking like he's on the right side of where you want your first-round quarterback to be. But he's got pressure on him for 2025. Here he is from yesterday on that pressure that he's feeling to improve in his second season.
I think that's what you want. I think this city, the Patriots are used to winning, and that's what we're trying to get back to. I think you want people to expect you to play good, and I think that pressure is kind of what fuels you to be out here. What fuels you to get the rep right in practice. What fuels you to work hard in the meetings or work hard in the weight room, or kind of not what happened last year happen again.
And that's really the key. You don't want what happened last year to happen again with that 4-13 debacle, one of the worst seasons the Patriots had. I think probably the worst season under the ownership of Robert Kraft, and they do not want that in 2025. And I think that they're just one of those teams where you don't really know where they fit and where they fall, but I think they're going to be better than just that general vibe of, well, yeah, they still have a long way to go. I don't think they have as far to go as most would say.
And it's so interesting, I think, because each year we always look at, like, the previous year. So we look at C.J. Stroud in Houston when he came in, and I think that the thought was, well, they'll be better. And then they had the unbelievable year. And then, obviously, Washington last year getting all the way to the NFC Championship. And I think a lot of times it's been these coaches that come in that, I think people are like, they're very demanding. They're building a culture, and Vrabel falls under that. And when I was up there and I visited with Josh McDaniels and Ashton Grant, the quarterback coach, it was very interesting because Ashton Grant was with, the same offense in Cleveland with Alex Van Pelt and those guys the year before they got to New England. So he has learned that system. He's been in it. So when he got to New England, he understands what Drake Maye was taught last year and what he's gone through. And now he gets to meet with Josh McDaniels. And he said it to me. He was just like, man, it's been really cool of some of the things that we were doing. Josh has an easier way to do things, or he has different things in his offense that are going to be very easy for Drake Maye to kind of move in that direction or understand it. He's like, there's a lot of key things. And then I talked to Josh. He was like, man, I've put in some things with this year off that I wasn't doing before, that going around and meeting with different people I've learned. And I think it's going to be a very interesting kind of relationship when you're marrying all of that together, because before, when Josh left out of New England, a lot of the thought was this offense had gotten too complicated because of the time Josh and Tom got to spend together. It just continued to get harder and harder and harder for any other quarterback to play in it. And now, a year removed, you have Josh, a guy who's obviously spent a lot of time, and how does he adapt? How does he change? How does he better equip his offense to go into with a new young quarterback? And now you get this situation where it times up and lines up perfectly. And then all of the reports I've read is Drake Maye each day on the field has looked more and more comfortable, which you would want in any new offense. So it's a marriage that I want to see how it flourishes. How do they get better? How do they incorporate what Josh does from an offensive line play, from a skill position? How do they use some of these new weapons and just look different than they've looked? Honestly, in the last 3 or 4 years, it's been so up and down as an offense. They're looking just for some stability, and I think Josh is going to be able to bring that this year for New England.
It's just a fascinating way to move forward while still having a connection to the past. With McDaniels back, with Vrabel there as a coach when he never was an assistant coach with the New England Patriots, but he was such a key part of the championship teams in the first phase of the dynasty. So it just feels right for all the acrimony that they have toward Bill Belichick, and that's no surprise. There are hard, strong feelings in both directions, culminating in Robert Kraft not being mentioned anywhere in Belichick's 250-page book with a goofy, clumsy, clunky explanation as to why Belichick didn't see fit to mention the guy that owned the team, that gave him the shot when there weren't many other teams lining up to hire Bill Belichick. But to have that kind of Belichick vibe at a time when Belichick is persona non grata, at least as far as the front office is concerned, there's just something there that just feels right, and it feels like it can work. And look, McDaniels has been a great offensive coordinator, great enough to become a head coach 2 different times. He was on the cusp of becoming the Colts head coach, so he's done so well as a coordinator that he's been on the radar screen and had the opportunity multiple different times in his career to be a head coach. That shows you how good he can be as a coordinator. And you put Vrabel in the mix, who I think was spectacular as the head coach of the Titans. They screwed up royally by letting him go. It really could work. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.